Hans Zimmer once said the most important thing for a composer is to find his own voice. Now this is coming from someone who's written the most iconic film scores in history. But what does finding your voice really mean in music composition? Now is it about playing certain styles, scales, or riffs, or is it something more? Today we're going to discuss why finding your voice as a composer is so important, how to start discovering it, and how to develop your musical identity. To get started, let's break down what it even means to have a voice in the context of composing music. Your voice refers to your personal style, so that means the way you approach music, the decisions that you make, and how you communicate your ideas through sound, no matter what instrument you play. Think about it, every composer has a unique fingerprint in their work. From the way they structure their songs, the instruments that they use, their quote-unquote voice is a reflection on their personality, their experiences, and their preferences. One of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite guitarists, John Petrucci, actually said, "Music is an extension of the artist," and that is so true. So because you are who you are and only you have lived your life through your eyes, that means that when you find your voice, only you are gonna sound like you and no one else is gonna play like you do. The first step is understanding it's not something that's given to you, it's something that you create from the inside. It's the intersection of all your musical influence combined with your musical expression and your unique way of experimenting with sound that helps you develop your voice. Now, the next point is something that we've all done. I remember when I started composing music back when I was 16, I tried to sound just like bands like Metallica and Dream Theater. And honestly, yeah, that's how you start off. I believe that that's okay at first. But as with every artist's journey that has their own unique voice, there comes a point where you need to stop copying the bands that you like and start infusing your own thoughts and feelings and emotions into your music. This is where your music begins to feel genuine and authentic, and listeners can pick up on this. Let's take a look at a modern example. The band TesseracT. This band is known for their unique style and sound, especially the way that they incorporate groove and rhythm into their music. One of my favorite things about this band is how they implemented slap bass and funk bass into their music, which few, if any, bands had done before them. This is partly what sets them apart from other bands, because who would have thought? Add funk to metal. But really this added a whole new flavor to groove and polyrhythmic styles that really set them apart and really got you moving. But let's reverse engineer that for a second, see how we can do the same thing maybe with another style. What did they do? They didn't just copy other artists and bass players. What they did is they incorporated it. They merged the two together and they made it their own unique sound. And this created a fresh approach to progressive music that is both intense and funky. So how do we do this? Well, first it's about experimenting. Let's say you love metal and something weird like ska. Maybe your voice is combining the two in ways that no one has done before. Or maybe you want to blend noisecore with orchestral arrangements. Really, the possibilities are endless, but you have to take the time to experiment with things that make you move. One of the most powerful tools you can use as an artist is something that we all take for granted, and that's listening to different genres of music. Now, believe me, as someone who loves progressive music, it can be very difficult for me to branch out and listen to other genres of music. But that's where you begin to learn new things that you can then incorporate into things that you already know and like. Alright, now that you've prepared yourself mentally and emotionally to listen to something other than coffee grind, catcore, banana slam, pirate metal, don't be afraid to just listen. Absorb what the music is doing. Try and put yourself into that composer's shoes. Why did they make that decision? Listen to the rhythms, the instrumentation, the structure, chord choices, even the way the music makes you feel. Is there a groove in electronic music that you can use as a backbone for your heavy riff? These aren't things that can just help you write your next track. These things could help you develop your own voice. Alright, so let's say you've picked out something you want to try and implement, so don't just copy it note for note. Integrate it into your music. Maybe you're giving classical music a try and you hear a beautiful string arrangement that you can implement into your style. Well, here's the thing, you don't even have to use orchestral arrangements in your music to implement that. Listen closely to how that composer arranged the music and orchestrated the instruments, and try and implement that into your songs. This is how you begin to find your own personal style. Let's talk about the London-based band Haken. This band has mastered the art of blending genres to make a sound that's uniquely their own. What makes Haken stand out is their ability to mix a variety of different genres, including jazz, classical, electronic, and pop into their progressive metal framework. Take their album Affinity, for example. It's heavily inspired by 1980s synthwave. They combine these influences with heavy, intricate guitar riffs and complex time signatures. The result is a sound that sounds fresh, but nostalgic, and entirely their own. But by pulling from diverse genres and weaving them into your compositions, you'll create music that is not only distinctive, but a true reflection of your personality. So if you're kind of all over the place in your head, you might excel when it comes to making chaotic music. Really, when it comes to your music, let your personality shine through. Remember, you're not trying to copy, you're trying to create a musical language that's uniquely yours. There's been times where I've been so inspired by something new that it's helped me to write an entire album around that sound. I will say this, if you're having a hard time pulling away from the genre that you like to branch out and hear new things, try easing your way out of the genre and try hearing things that are a little more on the fringe of what you already like. This is how I found bands that I really like right now. Bands like Rain City Drive, Sleep Token, Dayseeker, Starset. These bands aren't too far out from what I already listen to, but they help me to kind of branch out a little bit more and hear a different take on music. You'll be surprised how much widening out can fuel your creativity and help you find your true musical voice. Okay, so be patient. It is a gradual process. The more you compose, the more you'll see patterns in your work, things that you gravitate towards, certain techniques or instruments you like to use, the ways you naturally structure your songs. Of course, it is good to break away from these things that you usually do because you don't want to sound cliche, but build on it and elaborate on it. It might take years for you to truly develop your sound, and that's okay. Your favorite guitarists did not find their identity overnight. It was years of exploration, trial and error, and learning from their mistakes. So don't rush it. Give yourself time to develop and refine your voice over time. Remember that your voice as a composer should sound authentic. It should represent you, your quirks, your passions, and your experiences. If you are writing from an honest place, people will connect with it. So ask yourself, what do I want my music to say? What am I trying to express through sound? Once you tap into that, now you're starting to find your voice. And truthfully, only you know exactly how you feel before you express it. The most important thing for a composer is to find his voice. That was what Hans Zimmer said, and I couldn't agree more. Your voice is your unique fingerprint on the world of music, and that's what will set you apart from everyone else.